Alright guys, I'm going to show you some of the materials that we need to build our garden box. First, you're going to need a drill. You'll need a drill bit that will drive the screw. You'll need some 3-inch screws. Everybody will need 12 of the 3-inch screws to go on each of the corners. You're also going to need some 2.5-inch screws. The number you will need of the 2.5-inch screws will be different for every person's box based on the box they have. So if you look at the plywood base and you just count the number of holes that you see around the edge, count those up, and that will be the number of 2.5-inch screws. So in my box, I'm going to need 20 of them. You'll also need to make sure you have the end pieces and your other 2 boards to build the frame of your box. You'll know this is the end piece because holes have been drilled right here for you, pre-done for you. You'll also need a 1/4-inch drill bit. This will help us drill the holes in the base of the plywood. And the last thing, which I've referred to a couple of times, is the plywood base right here. Everybody will have a plywood base. The first thing you're going to need to do is, if it's not done already for you, is attach your drill bit that drives the screw into. You'll kind of place it, pull and let go, and it will now be attached. If you need to take it off, you can pull it up and take it out, and you just place it. Okay. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to take the 3-inch screws. Make sure you're using the 3-inch screws, and we are going to get them started. We're not going to full out place them. So to get them started, you put the screw on to drive it first. Kind of line it up. Once you get it lined up, we're going to just start it a little bit, and you're going to do this for the whole edge to get them started. So I'll kind of, and it won't be going all the way down. Not right now. We're going to do that for both ends. I'm messing up a little bit. There we go. There we go. And you'll make sure when you're drilling that you can keep your hand right here, or you can keep your hand out here, but don't ever put your hand right here when you're drilling, because you could actually hit your hand and that'll hurt really bad. So make sure that you're staying safe as you're doing that. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to set up our boards. And you'll need to take your 2 boards here, and we'll set them up vertically. So you might need a partner to help with this. I'll have my son come over here and help me. Hold this up. Make sure the whole side is up, the sides that have holes in them, because we will be lining them up. And you'll take your boards, and we're going to get them where they're stacked.
Can I help, Daddy?
This is when you might need another partner to stabilize this as we get ready to drill these in. So we want to make sure we've got it lined up pretty good. Okay. Make sure it's lined up, Drew. Okay, make sure that it's lined up so that everything's nice and perpendicular. And we will get ready to drill. Alright guys, the next thing you'll need to make sure you do is line these edges up. You're going to have your partners here to help you. So I've got one on each side. And notice that I have her holding her hands down very low, and they're going to keep it there to keep it away from the drill. So I'm going to keep my hand back because there's always a chance I'll slip and hit right here, and I don't want anybody's hands anywhere in this vicinity. Okay, I accidentally had it in reverse. If you do that, just tap the button over here to make sure it's in forward. There's a button on the side of the drill. So I'm going to make sure I've got it going forward. Okay, notice nobody's hands were in the way, so I'll need Drew to keep his hands back now. And I need to make sure that this side is lined up a little bit. Make sure it's as good as you can get it. Keep your hands back away. I'm going to kind of stay away from him because I don't want to come down on him. I'm going to keep my hands back. I almost thought about keeping my hands there. Not a wise move. see, like I just hit the, I don't want anybody's fingers in the way if that happens. Your next step is going to be to flip the box over. Make sure nobody's in your way because you don't want to accidentally hit them as you flip the board over. Drew, don't even play it. And then you're going to get your other board and set it on top. Now, it may appear as though the board is a little bit too short when you try to line it up. So when you kind of glance at this side, they look like they're off. But your goal is to just work on one side at a time. Make this side perpendicular and straight as best you can. And once we get this drilled in, we'll take care of getting that other side set. Okay? Make sure nobody's hands are in the way and that we're all clear. Okay, so I'm kind of putting a little bit pressure, but my hand's still back just to keep it down. And then see? I'm going to work on this side now and just kind of turn it around a little bit for you so you can see. Okay, and see, it looks like it's off, but we're going to kind of put pressure for it to be together. So one partner needs to kind of hold it. I would never want his hands that close though, would I? This time, this is where it gets a little bit tough, so you're going to need your partners. I'm kind of using my leg and my partners. Drew, put your hands up. We're going to try to straighten this up. And I'm going to work the one that's away from his hand. I don't want you anywhere near somebody's hand. Okay? And line it up, and you work the screw that's away from the person's hand. And we're pulling to keep it where it's lined up. So, Drew, keep your hand back. It's got to stay lined up. And if you need to get an adult over to help you while you do this part, that'll be fine. Once you get one screw done, it's much easier. See, I'm just really nervous about you guys getting your hands hit. Keep their hands back. Then the next thing I'm going to do is I want to get the bottom of the box. So you're going to have to choose which side of the box looks prettier. So this part of the box kind of has something messed up a little bit right here. So I'd like that to be the bottom of the box since this side looks a little bit nicer. So since the bottom of the box is going to be facing up right now, we will eventually turn it back over. So the bottom of the box is up. I'm going to lay it down so that ugly part's up high. And I'm sorry, I've kind of got a little bit of a mess right here. I'm going to put my plywood base on top of it. So I'm getting my plywood. And on your plywood, make sure that the side that has the lines drawn, those are our markers. It needs to be facing up so we can drill. And we're going to place it on top of our box. This is the bottom of the box that we're about to start drilling. We're about to place the board, and we're going to line that up. And we'll get ready to drill, so you'll need to get your 2.5-inch screws ready. All right, you got your 2.5-inch screws now. You're going to drill one of each one of them into the side of the box. Remember, keep your hands back.
Make sure everything's lined up.
Make sure everything is lined up. So I'm going to double check that real quick.
And you want to start with an end, not in the middle of the plywood.
Okay, so I'm getting in trouble. You hear my coach back there. He's telling me to start at the end, not in the middle. So big key point there. Oops. That's why we keep our hands back. See what happens. It bows up. It's okay. Okay.
Get one hole in.
Okay. Coach, do I do all of the corners first, or can I go in the middle now?
You want to go down one edge. So you want to start here and work your way this way, and that way the person at that end of the plywood can move the plywood to make sure it lines it all up. The key is to communicate. If it needs to be, if it needs to line up, you got to move that end.
Okay. It kind of bows up on you when it does that. Okay, and you'll go down all the edges like that. And that should finish making the box. Now we got to get ready to drill holes to drain water, and we'll also need to make sure we have some weed cloth. So those will be our next two steps. All right, you'll need to get your 1/4 inch drill bit. We'll need to take this piece off. We cannot lose this piece, so it needs to be set somewhere. Maybe even have a partner hold it. It's very important that we don't lose those pieces. Remember how to attach these. We kind of set it, pull it, and it snaps in until it's set. The next thing is we're going to be drilling water drain holes everywhere that there's an intersection on the bottom of our box. So I don't know if you can see it, but there's some crisscrosses, and we need to drill a hole. Now, this part kind of scares me, but it's mostly because it's loud whenever I start to do my drilling. Keep your hand back away. That same rule applies. Get right on one of these spots best you can. And you'll push until it does, and it will kind of pull down, and it almost feels like you've sank into the open air. Don't get scared. Main thing is keep your hands back. Okay? And you will have to kind of press. Okay. I paused the video. I went from an impact driver to a drill, and you'll be able to hear the difference. We're done building the box. Let me show you what it looks like. We've got the holes built in the bottom. And now we are ready to get weed cloth and fill it with soil. And it's going to be pretty heavy.